Alrighty, what is up guys? Aldo here. Welcome back. Sorry I've been a little bit less active lately. Been out of town, visiting some family, doing some things. Wanted to give an update right now. I mean, the market's been generally kind of flat, kind of boring other than the XRP thing that we had some fun with doing a couple longs. I think it was 2 nice longs with XRP in the Aldo Empire VIP Discord. If you guys are interested in that, link down below. Also, check out FAIRDESK. We're giving away, only with my link, one person who deposits at least $1 and does so any amount and does at least one futures trade will get $100 trading bonus every week with my link. You got some pretty good odds, so check both of those things out. And if you really enjoyed the content, smash the like button. So yeah, I just wanted to get into macro analysis. A lot of new things happening, a lot of new developments kind of happening with the market right now. And if we look at the weekly here, so this is kind of I mean, take this with a grain of salt. I don't know if it's going to happen, this way. I don't think this is, too crazy of a prediction either way. It's kind of predictable, based on what happened here, based on what happened in this bear market as well. A lot of consolidation, and then, you finally get into that bull run in 2025, and you keep the 4-year cycle. I don't believe there's any reason to think that we're going to lose the 4-year cycle. I don't see any significant reason, at least not yet. I think we'll eventually probably lose it. Nothing lasts forever, but as of right now, it seems like we're going to do something similar to kind of what we did, over here. First half of 2019, very bullish. Second half, generally, pretty bearish into December there. Then you had a big jump up. We're about to get, let me draw it out right now. As you can see, momentum waves coming down on the weekly, bearish div on the weekly, which could absolutely bring us down and potentially make this a 31K top. Now, maybe the XRP kind of mania phase, them, winning the case was kind of a sell the news type thing. I don't know. It definitely could be, and if you look back here, see how we came into the green with the money flow? That was a good kind of sell signal. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, still not a bad place to DCA in. Still not a bad place to DCA in, but if you were, DCAing in heavy all through here, maybe I would wait, I'd hold off maybe a little bit and wait till we come back into the red. But, not financial advice, but if you're very, very Bitcoin light, I would just DCA in through this, based on, this is for long term, based on the 2-week, as long as the 2 week stays in the red. It really depends on your kind of situation here individually. But I do think you got a good shot of coming back to maybe the 300 weekly moving average. That's at the low 20s, which would be a big place right there. And if we do mess around with the low 20s, high teens, towards the end of the year, September, October, maybe into December, that would be kind of a higher low, similar to, right here, this bear market, similar to right there in this bear market. So that's what we got to look at right there, potentially into October, into the end of the year right there. And that's kind of on the macro for Bitcoin. What could also kind of end the fun here, just a big place to potentially look. You got a trend reversal sign right there in the 3-week, and you may get the red dot pretty soon. Maybe this coming into the red. Maybe we'll see the first time ever the 3-week confirming in the red, maybe towards the end of the year for your second kind of bottom. I think 15K is a very, very, very high likelihood, at this point that we've bottomed out, that's the bottom, but we absolutely could come back to 20 or maybe even the high teens. Into later this year, maybe even early next year, similar to kind of what happened over here with our pandemic. So that's what we're going to look at right there. Now let's move on to let's just move on to some of these other higher time frames. I believe the 3, nothing looks too good here. Money flow coming out on the 3-week or 3-day, excuse me, bear div, money flow coming out. Looks like you would kind of lose this area and come down quite a bit from this. Absolutely could come down quite a bit from this. Would make sense, in the fact with the XRP thing, the mania phase. Also, the 4-day is now at money flow. Looks like it might want to start to come out here. That's another bearish div, and you're going to see that on the weekly as well. Now let's go to a chart that's more marked up here, and let's look at some of the lower things. So we've been in this, in this kind of volume profile for a while. Right now, we're just hanging on by a thread, at the high 29s. It's kind of, I think inevitably, we're going to break down one way or the other. I mean, it's not impossible with this trigger wave on the daily for us to come up and mess around with 31 again, come up right there. We've been choppy, we've been choppy. The other thing too is, this pattern generally was, more of a bull pennant. Now it's a bit more of like some weird head and shoulders. I guess you could argue, it's still a bit more of a bullish formation, but I think to really have that bullish formation, you would have wanted to break up earlier. That's why I'm a bit concerned about this. So messing with this point, around 30K right now. VWAP coming up on the 20-hour. Some RSIs are kind of gapped. I mean, daily in the 20-hour, kind of more your bullish case here, I would say. But you're still hanging on by a thread. And when you get down to, this is where the bearish case really plays out. And there's a high likelihood you could break down based on this 10-hour. And I'll get to what these yellow X's mean in a second here. But money flow coming out, your EMAs are all gray here on Market Cipher A. That's a strong indication that you're going to come down. Look at what happened here when the money flow got into the green and your EMAs all turned bright. You shot up a lot. This was back in June. You shot up a lot from 26. So that's what we got to pay attention here. Now, potentially this is the place to come down. I do have a swing short in for Bitcoin, swing short in for Ethereum. Not 100% sure if they'll win. If you guys want more information on that, check out the link below for the Aldo Empire VIP Discord. Me and 2 other pro analysts. We do provide a really good, a lot of really good analysis, really good community in there. So, oh yeah, with the yellow X's, let's explain that. A lot of times in these sell-offs, you get 4, maybe 5 yellow X's on these middle time frames. You got the first one here. This could lead down into the end of the month, coming down. Now, the other thing too that we want to realize is back in 2019, July, August, September were red months. July so far, I believe, is a red month for Bitcoin. Wouldn't surprise me if we see the same thing this year. In the 4-year cycle, history repeats, a lot more than many would think. I mean, let's just think logically. If you bought Bitcoin at the end of 2014, not the bottom, but great time to buy. End of 2018, the bottom. End of 2022, essentially the bottom. That's what we got to look at here. So let's look at the same thing, in terms of 2015 and 2019, those markets. And potentially, double bottom pattern here. We'll see if we could break above the volume area low right here. If we could break above that, that's pretty good. But we're on some threads here. If you've got a stop loss for a long here, you might be able to pull it off with hourly. You might be able to pull it off, but based on how everything else is looking, I mean, that money flow wants to kind of come deeper here. Hopefully this loads, kind of come deeper here on the 2-hour. So I mean, you're on some thin, on some thin ice here, and this is kind of rejecting from this point right here in the 16 volume area low. So that's what we got to be careful with. Let's move on to Ethereum right now. So, I mean, you were kind of forming, you still are forming maybe some type of weird head and shoulders here if you break down. It's a macro kind of, place at 1200 right there. Let's do a little, I want to show you a little bit of macro analysis on Ethereum. Could be in some type of a Wyckoff accumulation phase. Not going to spend a ton of time on this, but this is one prediction on the weekly. And you may get a head and shoulders on the momentum waves in the weekly pretty soon. If you do the Wyckoff accumulation kind of thing, you would come back down to around $1,000 theoretically. Again, I'm not saying you're going to come down that low, but we could see some red months. We could see a red July, a red August, a red September, maybe even a red October too, down quite a bit for that kind of prime place to get in, where Ethereum may bottom out against Bitcoin. Look at where it bottomed out against Bitcoin, September of 2019. It could be the same thing if you get down to these really low places in September, October of 2023 of this year. Could be different this time. We don't know, but I think ultimately when I look at this time frame, or when I look at ETH versus Bitcoin, look at that money flow. I think we got to come at least into the red before I want to start converting some of my Bitcoin over to Ethereum. Right now, I'm just going to, accumulating Bitcoin. When I want to start with Ethereum and altcoins is probably when this gets in the red. That could be a big place. Also, Bitcoin dominance, getting up to the mid 50s is what I'm looking at as well. Now let's look at Ethereum a little bit more here. Obviously like Bitcoin, not too good, with money flow coming out, not a bearish div, but kind of a trigger wave to the downside here. This could be finally what breaks us down out of this area. You're in kind of this, ascending wedge here. Ascending wedges, I believe, are typically more bearish, a little subjective where our technical target is. But if you break down volume area low at 1770, which is going to be a big place to potentially look for, a target from this breakdown. That could be a good place to look to take profits if you're trying to short right now. Weekly, we talked about. I just wanted to show you guys the 2-week here as well. Money flow coming out. This could be an absolutely great place to get into Ethereum for the long term. Similar to over here. See how we came into the red over here in December of 2019? That was around the time, Ethereum bottomed out against Bitcoin. Look at that area. That next red dot, once that plays out, we come into the red, price September, October. excellent place to get into Ethereum, especially if we come back down to 1200, 1300. Those areas are going to be huge, especially if we could get up to maybe 8,000 next bull run, maybe a little bit more, maybe 10,000, maybe 12,000. Who knows? I think 8,000 is a pretty good goal. Things could change though. Don't never be completely gung-ho on anything here. But yeah, and then if we look at kind of 3-week, that could be kind of a trigger wave that we may get to the downside too. This could be the first time we get into the red on the 3-week for Ethereum as well, for a prime kind of place towards the end of the year. I think at minimum I'm looking for September, October, right now to start getting into Ethereum and altcoins. That could change though, so don't get mad at me if we do have to change this. Other thing to look at too is Bitcoin dominance. Now, if this does hold 50% right here and doesn't come down to 47, most likely I think this market would come down and ETH would bleed against Bitcoin, XRP would bleed against Bitcoin, all these altcoins would continue to bleed against Bitcoin, and we'd see this as we see the market correct over the next few months. We'd see this guy come up to maybe 50, mid 50s, 56%, maybe even 60 later on. The big place I'm looking for is this fib level around mid 50s, which is a huge place to start getting into altcoins here. And yeah, just as this money flow comes up a little bit more on the 2-week right here, just that next breakup kind of is what I'm looking for. We are in the green on the 2-week. I want to just wait a little bit more, see how that was kind of the peak in 2019. I want to wait till we're a little bit higher like there. You do have the gap to our sides, which just does look kind of bearish, like we want to come down and have an altcoin season. But looking at how bearish Bitcoin kind of looks in the larger time frames, and how ETH looks as well, I do think this can continue to rise. We coiled up so much. This was a Wyckoff accumulation. I mean, your technical target is up here for that at 56%. So I think that's going to be a big place. I'm not seeing this coming down too much. Even if we do come down to 47, I think you'll get a jump off of there. So that's what we got to look at as well. The Fed is probably also going to raise interest rates at the end of this month. Other thing too is oil's making kind of a breakout here. Commodities are jumping up. The DYX does look, this is coming down kind of. That 99 is a big point though. 99 is a big point. If the Fed raises, maybe we could get a jump off of this. I don't know though. Dixie, like a lot of people say, the Dixie is in trouble. I think they're absolutely right. That weekly doesn't look good too, but you may get another bull div on that weekly pretty soon. Just keep an eye on this. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. What's interesting too is total 3 versus Bitcoin right here. You're getting some green on the Heikin-Ashi candles on the 2-week. I want to see what happens in the 12 days it's going to take for this to confirm. I absolutely want to see what happens in that amount of time. If this does confirm the green, maybe we could get that altcoin season. Maybe some of these altcoins have bottomed out against Bitcoin. Tough to say. I'm thinking it may be more like over here where it was September. This is total 3, a whole crypto market cap minus Bitcoin, Ethereum. So that's what I'm looking at. Last thing I want to show you guys right now is Litecoin. So if we look at history of Litecoin here, Litecoin's halvening is in the beginning of August, so very close. Typically, we do start to decline into the halvening, and right here from that mid-August area where the halvening was, I'm not going to count the pandemic, but you came down around 60%. We're getting close to the halvening right now. 60%. I could see you coming down back to maybe $50 here. You got the trigger wave. You got the blood diamond on the weekly. I think we could be getting done with Litecoin, and I think you may see your true, kind of higher, maybe a higher low, sometime in November, December, maybe September at the earliest. So that's what I'm looking at. That's pretty much all I got right now, guys. If you're interested in the Aldo Empire VIP Discord, link down below. Post a lot of good stuff there. We have our trading course on a new server. I have the trading course on a new server now. Still 20% off. Added one new lesson in on fixed volume profiles. Hope you guys like it. Going to be adding in another lesson on traditional technical analysis in there as well. And also, if you guys want a good exchange to trade on, check out FAIRDESK down below. No VPN required, no KYC required, and only with my link, $100 bonus to one lucky winner every week. All you have to do is deposit any amount and make one futures trade. So check that out. MEXC down below is also pretty good. BITGET is also pretty good as well. Have a good one, guys. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.